you all for being here today, and a special thanks to the organizers for your valiant efforts in creating this space. My name is Stephen Bozier, he, him, his, and I'm a rising second-year medical student at the Warren Alpert Medical School at Brown University. And I currently serve as president of our chapter of the Student National Medical Association. The SNMA is the oldest and largest independent student-run organization in the U.S. that addresses the needs and concerns of students who are underrepresented in medicine. I'm honored to be among the students representing our chapter here today. I'm a black man from New York. Anyway, but I've spent 6 years in Providence, and I'll be turning 25 next month. The same age as Ahmaud Arbery when he was chased down, cornered, and murdered by vigilantes. The same age as Raya Milton, a black trans woman who was shot several times and killed recently. I'm now older than Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Aiyana Jones, Michael Brown, and 2 years younger than the late activist Erica Garner, daughter of the late Eric Garner, and 2 years younger than Ray Shard Brooks, a 27-year-old man Atlanta police shot and killed in a Wendy's drive-thru this weekend. I am tired. I finished my first year of medical school just over 3 weeks ago, and it feels like I have been moving non-stop ever since. As a matter of fact, I spoke to one of my favorite professors from undergrad just yesterday about this. She told me, it's always semester mode as a POC. Well, isn't that the truth? As a black man in medical school, I constantly fight an internal and sometimes external battle with imposter syndrome. The psychological pattern in which one doubts one's accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. I find that it requires me to speak affirmations over myself, that I am smart, exceedingly capable, and more than enough. Words have power, and being black in medical school is a constant battle between microaggressions and self-advocacy. Imagine having to learn from an outdated framework of race-based medicine that says that black people's poor health outcomes are due to biological differences between races. Newsflash, it's not. Race-based medicine erases the culpability of systemic racism when it comes to health disparities. It must be abolished across medical schools and healthcare institutions nationwide. But also imagine being a black man and seeing that you have the lowest life expectancy of your peers. Imagine being a black woman, too aware of the epidemic of black maternal and infant mortality, but too afraid to speak on the topic because it might anger those in greater positions of power. The past semester, myself and other black students had to continue learning about diseases for which we tend to have the poorest outcomes, amidst a COVID-19 pandemic for which black and brown communities are disproportionately at risk, and amidst a chronic phenomenon in which we are uniquely at risk for being murdered on candid camera. At some point, enough is enough. Black kids marching in the street for their lives deserve better than this. deserve better than this. George Floyd deserves better than this. His daughter deserves better than this. Breonna Taylor deserves better than this. Arrest the cops who murdered Breonna Taylor. Dr. Uche Blackstock, an emergency medicine physician based in New York, wrote an article that was published in Stat News earlier this year in January. It was titled, "Why Black Doctors Like Me Are Leaving Faculty Positions in Academic Medical Centers." I encourage every healthcare worker, student, faculty member, educator, administrator, and board member to read that. In it, Dr. Blackstock writes, "I find it ironic that Black faculty members are unfairly tasked with the complex and overwhelming chore of remedying the structural outcomes of centuries of institutionalized racism that we did not create in the first place." Very aptly stated, but we knew this to be true. We knew it to be true the first time a teacher asked us in class to give the Black perspective on current events. As a Black medical student, I knew it to be true when 3 weeks went by in which national news cycles were inundated with highlights and replays of Black trauma porn, and still, it took a Black woman speaking out before conversations on anti-Black violence and white silence took place in our groupings. We knew this to be true in 2015 and today, when we gathered en masse and took to the streets to proclaim to the world that our Black lives matter. So yes, this wasn't our issue to begin with, but the past and future merged to meet us here in this state of emergency. Our existence is political. Our convergence is historic. And so I'm here today to plainly state to the governor, state representatives and senators, the officers standing behind us, the banks and the businesses downtown and all around, and to the medical schools and healthcare institutions that were built on the backs of African slaves and displaced the Narragansett and Wampanoag peoples. This is your problem too. We need more than thoughts and prayers. We need more than just your words. We need more than to have our beautiful faces smile for your institution's diversity brochure. When the answer to the question of whether or not you'll stand on the line with us in favor of our political existence over your political convenience is obscure. We need a real commitment. We demand your action. We demand it as a debt that is owed. I believe the Providence Public School District is waiting for a payment of a debt that is owed. So what action? What action, they say? Last week, myself and a score of other affinity group leaders at the medical school presented our deans and senior leadership with a joint statement and list of demands. I'll share them with you all.
Yes.
Number 1, fund anti-racism training. The revolution will not be diversity and inclusion trainings, but some of us have more catching up to do. And as they say in the hospitals, time is tissue. Black lives matter. Black women, Black trans folks, Black children are dying every day. Every day. Time is tissue. We demand your action. Number 2, publish disaggregated demographic data. We need to know the percentages of black and brown people that make up your institutions.
That's right.
Number 3, increase the admission of black and URIM students through the standard admissions route. Recent estimates indicate that black people represent 13% of the U.S. population, but only 6% of the doctors. That's less than half of where we need to be if we are going to reflect the communities that we serve. And we won't get there if black students represent 13% of the student body at primarily white institutions. No, we need 18 and 19 and 20%. It's 2020 after all. Number 4, diversify faculty administration. Please point us in the direction of the people that do the hiring. We are more than happy to talk. Number 5, investigate disparities in remediation. Number 6, overhaul the anti-racist education. Unlearning racism and white supremacist hegemony, is work that takes a while. It's a forever kind of work. It's a work that should be of the highest priority. So I'm gonna need everyone that's in a position of power within healthcare, I need you to say it with your chest. This is of the highest priority.
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 Number 7, organize URIM focus groups. Hear from the students, hear from their experiences. Number 8, divest from Safari Land. The producer of tear gas, a chemical agent that has deleterious effects on the respiratory system and can further propagate the COVID-19 pandemic, has been dangerously deployed against protesters by police here in the United States, in Palestine, in Puerto Rico, and around the world. Not going to happen anymore starting today. We join with the Brown's Department of Sociology and other departments that have called for this divestment. Number 9, protect student advocacy. Do not shame your students, your employees, nor your colleagues for being brave enough to say, not over my body, my Black life matters. And finally, number 10, publicly recognize this list of demands and your plan to address them and encourage other institutions to do the same. There is work to be done. So in closing, I just want to say that I am so proud of the Providence youth that put their protest and this march together. At 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you're more activated and critically conscious than I was at that age. Black kids, we're awesome. So when the world tries to discredit our talents, we grow up to become doctors, engineers, athletes, artists, entertainers, and community leaders. When we aren't seen as children of our Creator and respected less than dogs, we show ethereal grace, beauty, resilience, and intelligence. When rabid folks in red hats protest in the streets for America to continue closing her eyes to justice while simultaneously opening up their bars and nail salons. You stretch yourselves open to proclaim that you're willing to fight for yourselves and for people that you don't even know. So with that being said, you are more than enough. In fact, you're the best of us. I pray that America will finally wake up and recognize this. Surely, we will be there to make sure that they do. God bless you all.